Hello there folks, and welcome back to another speed paint video. This week I'm going to be making some adoptable designs. These are going to be dragons based on different types of desserts. I love drawing characters based on desserts. Desserts just have a lot of interesting, unique, very easily identified color palettes. They have a lot of great textures, there's a lot of diversity. And the same goes for dragons, which honestly, pretty much anything you put together, you could potentially call a dragon depending on the context, and I just think that's super cool. So I put those two aesthetics together and made 3 different dessert dragon designs that I'll go over today. The first design we have here today is based on one of my personal favorite types of desserts, or I guess candy, which would be chocolate. I love chocolate, it's pretty fun. I think chocolate as an aesthetic has a lot of different directions you can go with. You've got things like very basic chocolate candies, like a Hershey Kiss. You've also got I've never had one of these, but chocolate boxes, which have surprise chocolates in them. I don't know. I'm someone with food allergies. I've always had food allergies, specifically to peanuts and tree nuts, so I've never actually eaten one of those. I don't even know what they're called. Are they just called chocolate boxes? I think so. But I've never eaten anything from one of those, because there's never been one that has been yeah, there's nothing that will kill you in there. None of them have ever been like that. But yeah, I think my point is, chocolate has a lot of potential, it's got a lot of different directions you can go with, and what I decided to do for this one was to kind of come up with a, oopy goopy kind of vibe, I don't know. I really wanted this to have a melted chocolate feel, and I wanted it to have this idea of a graham cracker or a wafer or a waffle cone of some sort that's been dipped in chocolate, and not just chocolate on its own, since I think just chocolate on its own would read a little bit too flat, and there wouldn't be enough value mapping that would be interesting for that. So essentially this is a cream colored creature that has a generous chocolate coating on it, and it has a lot of rainbow accents on it as well. By the way, I apologize, the sketch, I forgot to record for the first couple of minutes of sketching, but then I remembered to hit it, so you won't be seeing the first, little bits of me putting down the head, but most of the interesting process, in my opinion, here is the coloring, which I'm sure you'll get to see plenty of here. This was a pretty interesting little design. I kind of tried to make it have a vibe somewhere between your classic Western dragon in terms of the build, the 4 legs and 2 wings type design. I also tried to make it nice and long, like a classic Eastern dragon design, which I always think are really cute. I even took a bit of a bird-like approach with the feet. I tried to make them look like little skinny talons. And I gave it fun rainbow-colored claws as well, since I kind of wanted to give the vibe of rainbow sprinkles on chocolate. I even considered putting sprinkles on this design, but after I had pretty much wrapped up all the coloring, I decided it would probably look a little too busy. But still, it was fun to incorporate the rainbow elements. One of my favorite parts of this design would have to be the tail, which has this wonderful little rainbow swirl on it. And I just think that came out really cute. I'm very happy with it, and I think this design hits this vibe of a summertime chocolate dessert of some kind, whether that be an ice cream cone that's been dipped in chocolate or some other type of chocolate dessert. I feel there's a very specific vibe that when I think of chocolate desserts in art, this is the color palette and this is the vibe I try to go for, and I think I really hit it with this design. I feel it came out looking very I don't know, it kind of reminds me of a dog a little bit, and I feel a lot of great dragons are very dog-like. The one in The Neverending Story is very classically dog-adjacent, and I love this idea of taking this creature that in mythology is often described as being, reptilian essentially, and applying mammalian elements to it. I love that mix of it. It makes it feel all that more mythical and otherworldly, while also feeling very recognizable and familiar, and I just think that's a lot of fun to do with dragons. Oh, and as you can see, its horns are dipped waffle cones. I tried to give them a little bit of texture to really make them feel like that, and they have quite a generous coat of chocolate on them. And I'm honestly just really happy with this. I've been making a lot of chocolate-themed skins on Flight Rising, and this is kind of inspired by those, but making them into a full-fledged character design, which I'm honestly pretty happy with. Next up, we have a dragon whose theme is a little bit less obvious at the front, and this dragon is themed on icing. More specifically, buttercream or vanilla flavored icing. And I just had a lot of fun with this. I gave this guy a very, like, regal design. I wanted it to have, like, almost sphinx-like posture where it's just kind of sitting down in a very regal way. I tried to give it these, like, stripes on the front of its body that mimic the layers in a cake to further emphasize that icing quality. And the color palette I ended up choosing, obviously I didn't go full white on this. That would have been too samey, too flat. So instead I did a lot of blue accents on this design. And that was partly inspired by I've just had the aesthetic of funfetti type birthday cake on the mind lately. I've been thinking about, like, again, to bring it back to Flight Rising, I've been thinking about making a skin themed around that sort of aesthetic recently since it was my birthday very recently. So yeah, birthday cakes are just on my mind, especially those that have, like, a blue aesthetic. So I gave a lot of this thing, like, not only is it white, like classic, you know, vanilla or buttercream icing, but it also has a lot of blue elements, like cartoon birthday cake-esque designs. I gave it these long, huge, droopy ears. I thought it would be a fun thing to do with the silhouette and make it feel very different from the previous dragon, who had much smaller ears. And I also gave it this, like, big flowy mane, and I put all sorts of, like, basically little swirls of what feels like icing on it, like when people do piping icing on a cake and they make those little flowers. I really wanted to cover this guy in, like, little ornaments like that while also keeping it super simple. Since I think at its core icing's not a whole dessert, it's just an ingredient, so I think this design needed to be a little bit more simple. I also made it have its wings as tails instead of on the middle of its body. Mostly because I thought it would look a little bit messy if everything was on the middle of its body between, like, the shoulder accent and the big long ears and the mane. I thought the silhouette would get really messy and hard to read. That, and I thought giving it tail wings makes it very distinct from the other design I made so far. And it gives it, like, this unique quality that really makes you ask, what does qualify as a dragon? Because this guy sure is strange, but it clearly does still have draconic properties, and I just had, like, so much fun with this color palette. And as you can see, another accent color on there is yellow. I feel like buttercream ice cream, like, I usually think of it as being white, but it does have this yellow undertone. I thought the yellow undertone was a nice change of pace from a lot of the cool tones here. Adding those warm accents gave just enough visual interest and also made for a nice eye color too. I'm just really happy with this design. I feel like it's very appropriately regal. I think it's very charming. I love the shapes. I feel like all the ideas I had came out really well. It's a very nice, clean shape, and it was just a lot of fun to draw. Last, but most certainly not least, we have a dragon based on a strawberry shortcake. Now, fun fact, while I was looking up visual references for this, I knew if I had put into the search bar strawberry shortcake, I was only going to get pictures of the character and not the dessert. So I instead googled strawberry desserts, and sure enough, a lot of the images were just strawberry shortcakes anyway. So yeah, I just had to do some funny stuff to find references for this. And of course, this dragon takes a lot of inspiration from, the strawberry shortcake character too. They're both based on the same source material, so it's no surprise they would intersect with their colors. I tried to give her, like, a pink vibe, like a lot of strawberry flavored icing or ice cream is usually bright pink. I usually think about, my sister likes to get these little ice cream bars that have these strawberry crumbs on them and have, like, vanilla and strawberry ice cream inside. And the idea of that aesthetic really drove a lot of the color decisions in this design. I also gave this body, like, a much more, mammal adjacent type quality. Like, I don't think there is a mammal that really looks like this. Like, some dogs might look like this, but they certainly don't have that big fat tail or the big wings. I really just wanted to give this thing a very different body shape than the other dragons, and I kind of wanted it to have this idea of it standing up straight and tall. Because the chocolate dragon is kind of flying through the air lazily, and then the icing dragon is laying down in a very regal way, so I wanted this one to be standing up with very good posture. And ultimately, when I was drawing that, like, posture, I ended up coming up with this almost dog-like silhouette, but I still feel like it doesn't look like any creature I can think of. Like, I think it looks very original. It just looks very different from the other designs, and I was really going for that, so I'm pretty happy that's where it ended up. I gave it these big strawberries on its chest as well, sort of inspired by when you see, especially with, like, a strawberry shortcake, especially in cartoons, it'll have, like, the yellow cake, and then there'll be like whipped cream in the middle, which is what the white color is supposed to represent here. And then there'll be, you know, just whole ass strawberries on top. And I thought that would be a lot of fun. And while on your own cakes at home, I highly doubt you will have strawberries with leaves on them. I thought the leaves added a little bit more, say it with me, visual interest. And I thought that color green added a little bit of nice cool tones to give a little more contrast to everything. And I mean, when you think of strawberries, I think a lot of us do also picture the leaf, like visually along with it, even if that's not the part that you eat. So yeah, I gave this thing some fun green whiskers to match with the leaves on the strawberries. I gave it these like big wings that kind of remind me, after I had finished them, they were reminding me of those like jam cookies where it's like got that hole, the window part in the middle on the top. I don't know what those are called, but you know what I'm talking about. I don't care for jam or jelly, so I haven't had any of those either. But, you know, I thought that was fun. And the back on that big thick tail, part of the reason I wanted it to be so big is I had this idea of like incorporating stripes to add that idea of like a multi-layered cake. I ended up coming with so many different colors of stripes, but I'm very happy. I used basically every color in the palette except for green on this tail. And I think this thing came out like so cute. It falls somewhere between like butterfly and dog for me in terms of its aesthetic. Like, it feels like a design that could maybe be the sidekick character to a Barbie-like character in a movie or like in a toy line or something. That's what it is. This feels like a toy to me more than anything else. Which, now that I say that out loud, makes me realize that is that like a convergent thing with Strawberry Shortcake, the character, again? Or am I just overthinking it? I don't know. My main point is I had a lot of fun drawing this design. I gave it such big eyes compared to the other ones in this batch. Really fun, like, huge, colorful anime eyes. Yeah, just working on this whole set was a lot of fun, and this one was very different from the others, but I'm still very happy with it. And with that, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If they haven't already, I intend to auction these designs either on the Mon Market Discord server or on my Instagram profile. I'm sure by the time this video comes out, I will have made a decision as to where these will be going. But these designs will be available for auction, and just in case they're only on the Mon Market server, I recommend go ahead and checking it out if you're a fake Mon artist, or you're someone who commissions a lot of fake Mon art, or, you know, commission a lot of art in general and want people who are really good at creature design. There's a wonderful community on there. They're very fun to chat to, and the auction community on there is a lot of fun too. So I might be doing my auctions on there, and if you're interested in buying any of these designs, that is the place to look. And if I don't end up doing it on Mon Market, I will probably do it on my Instagram page instead, so I recommend following me there so you don't miss them. If you would like to support me, one of the best ways you can do so is by supporting my Ko-fi page. I've got commissions, adoptables, emotes, all sorts of stuff on there. I've also got monthly memberships, which can get you things like member-exclusive items, discounts, all sorts of neat stuff. And it really just helps me do stuff like pay my bills, deal with monthly expenses. I recently have to get some work on my car, so any support you can give me would help offset that expense that I wasn't expecting. So yeah, any support is appreciated. I really do want to try to make this really my living since I don't really have a lot else going on. And any support can help me achieve that dream, and even just more followers on Ko-fi is a wonderful thing to have. So thank you all so much for your support. I've also recently revamped my portfolio page, which I link in my description in every video. I recently made a page full of highlights from my wholesale stock merchandise designs, which are basically just designs you can order as like stickers, pins, charms, posters, prints, and more. That if you own a small business and you'd like to sell things like sticker sheets or charms, and feel free to reach out to me. I've got over 100 designs on my page that you can browse through and let me know if you'd like to sell them, and we can make a deal and you can get some wholesale for a cheaper price than obviously just buying all the pieces individually. And if you'd like to reach out to me about getting wholesale merch, just email me aquaspiderart@gmail.com and I would love to talk to you. And with that, that is all I've got for you guys today, so thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you all next week with another speed paint, and in the meantime, why don't you guys go out there and make some art.